Thanks for tuning in to Don't Give a Sip.
We're the Sippin' Beauties. And I'm Kaylin.
I'm Jax.
And welcome. Notice that we are dressed as beautiful princesses today.
Because we are talking about the fairy tale effect.
Okay, so what is the fairy tale effect?
Well, to me, it's painting this picture of this idealistic relationship. That's not reality.
Yeah.
And I feel like we mold our relationships into that like created narrative. And I really essentially call that painting the red flags.
Kind of like rose-colored, seeing it through rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, I mean, look at Alice in Wonderland, like painting the roses red. I think of that like they're masking the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I mean, this is conditioned from early on. I mean, early in childhood, we are already conditioned to have these preconceived notions of what a relationship is. I mean, thanks Disney. I mean, really, look at the Beauty and the Beast, the Little Mermaid, Cinderella. I mean, they all have such narcissistic undertones. I mean,
absolutely. And they're like instant love and marriage.
Yeah. It all unfolds like within a week. They're, I meet you, we're getting married, we're so in love. I mean, the Little Mermaid, Ariel, she gives up her voice. What do we do in narcissistic relationships? I mean, your voice is, squandered. Like, it's squashed. Like, you can't talk. You're walking on eggshells. I mean, I think that was a really physical representation of that. Cinderella.
And like, are these the perfect relationship? Cinderella. The prince doesn't even remember what she looks like. He's going around the city trying the shoe on every woman in the kingdom. Well, sounds like my ex.
Yeah.
Trying out every woman in our city.
Yeah, Tampa. Watch out.
Shout out, burn, baby, burn.
I hate you. No, I'm joking.
You gave us this podcast.
Like Beauty and the Beast. Belle tries so hard to, she's fighting for that love. She's like, if she can just be nice enough, if she can just do the right thing, if she
He'll
can just
change. He'll change.
Yeah, if she loves him enough.
It's like change comes from within. You can't change nobody.
Yeah. No, and that's a hard lesson to learn. We'll get more into that, but just, where we're coming from, Disney and other movies and other fairy tales. It doesn't have to be a movie. It could be the books that we read.
Yeah.
I mean, we are conditioned to have this.
It sets us up for this like almost failure. Like I feel like when people when we look back at our first loves, like our first relationships.
Yeah.
Your life ended. Like the world ended when he broke your heart or you broke his heart, and it's like, is that where Disney set us up to think that everything is forever? It's like we're going to meet the first person, we're going to get married, and we're going to be in this relationship. And I feel like that's why it's not even just our first love. It's like that's our first devastation of a wake up call. Like, bam, wake up, Sleeping Beauty.
This is
reality.
Yeah, I saw it with my daughter Chloe. I mean, so I was watching old movies. There was a movie Thumbelina, and I'm showing her. She's all into it. She's 4 years old at the time, and there was a scene where they get married. And I mean, I saw it. Like, I physically saw the flip of the switch, and she was just like,
it's magical.
It's getting married. Then I saw her playing with her Barbies, and like, we're getting married. And I'm like, I literally witnessed it. Like, I saw the magic in her eyes. Like, because that's the dream. Someone is going to come save you.
Yeah.
You can be and that goes into the roles. So how does this affect the roles of yourself in a relationship?
It's like the only saving I'm looking for is like, do you remember the creatures in Snow White? They just like, all these animals come clean your house. And the fairy godmother just like, boom, you're hot.
That'd be nice.
That's the kind of saving I want. Fuck you, Prince Charming.
Yeah, we don't need the prince.
I don't need you. I need the cleaning, happy animals.
The cleaning animals and the hot.
Clean my house, make me hot. Buy me a shot.
No more.
Anyways. So like when we think about it, like how do these early on fairy tale effects like define relationships later in life? Like I feel like, we're taught to be these innocent, helpless, we need saving.
Yeah, someone's going to ride in and take you away, and what are they saving you from? I mean, we all had experiences in childhood. I mean, that's like some deep-rooted trauma, and that's something that you do have to unravel. But that's kind of where these, the knight in shining armor is coming to save you.
Yeah, and there is no guy on a white horse.
That's
it's an IOU, I'm gonna fuck you, bitch.
Not all the time, but in our experiences thus so far.
I feel like we meet the beast.
I can change him.
I can change.
I can fix him. Oh my god.
Oh. No, we already talked
okay.
about that, but
No, well, we may have, if you're just tuning in, for Halloween, we were the red flag inspectors, okay?
Yeah.
So, we were dressed in construction, like lingerie from like an old Carhartt outfit.
yeah, we like cut up a Carhartt and made it into like a hot bikini.
Yeah, actually, this
We had,
girl,
like, the
Taylor
tools
Selly,
hanging
I
out.
want to give her a shout out because she did an amazing job. So, anyways, thank you, Taylor. But so yeah, it was like construction. We had the tools in there. We had the construction hat, and we had our flag. Like I can fix him, and so. This is something that's been really impressionable on us, and we're 35 years old, and we're just now unraveling the bullshit. So we're trying to save you some years, and I think with the male role in and how the Disney characters are portrayed. I mean, the guy comes in, they're more capable.
Yeah.
They're here to save you, they're strong, and it's like you're looking to them for everything that you need.
Mm-hmm.
But, part of the reason we want to do this podcast is because we want to show you that you don't need that. I mean, to an extent, I get it, but it's like you need to be that for yourself. You're looking to them for strength and security, and that's where like the self-work really comes in.
And I think that's where you need to look at yourself, like where are you in your life? Like for me, when I let someone into my life like that, I look back and I thought I was really happy. I thought things were going okay, but when I really analyzed it and I looked back, I realized like I was really lonely. I was in a different country. I was away from my family and everyone I knew, and I was wanting that attention. And this guy came in, he was super charming, like the fairy tale effect.
Yeah.
Like just everything I thought that I ever wanted. And I was enamored by his charm.
But you made a good point, because it's like where you are in your life. So if you're not, it sounds, again, with the cliches, it sounds so cliche, but it's like you need to have your stuff together. It's being whole, loving yourself before you can love someone else.
Absolutely.
You hear that and it's like, oh, it's so dumb. Like, I do love
But
myself.
it's so true, because you know what you'll never put up with. And the thing is like when I say painting the red flags pink, there were so many things in the beginning that I was like, I will never put up with. I would never.
No.
Why did I allow these things to happen? Where was I in my mind, in how I felt about myself, that I allowed this to happen to me? And starting from the very beginning.
Being sad, lonely, desperate.
I was cheated on. I was cheated on the first month we were together.
And you justified it.
And I justified it because he was like, well, I didn't really know that we were in a relationship. Like, I thought we were kind of just getting to know each other. And I said, well, you asked me if we were seeing any other people, and we weren't. So, but I chalked that up when I found out that he cheated on me. I chalked that up as, oh, well, we weren't really together, because he made me feel bad that, like, I had told him I wasn't rushing into a relationship, so therefore I wasn't ready.
It's like
and that's not true.
Gaslighting.
It is. Absolutely. And, another thing, like another red flag was, he would tell these like little lies. These little lies. And I'd be like, oh, it's just a little lie. It's no big deal. But these little lies turn into big lies.
Yeah.
And so, that's a flag, because you're telling that person, oh, it's just a little lie. It's okay to lie. And, and they're being like, they turn around.
You get wrapped up into it. Same thing. So, like, my ex that I was just dating, I think he was being playful, so I don't want to, like, totally put him on blast, but we were cooking, and he took the hot pan right off the stove, and, he's kind of joking with me, like, he's going to touch me with it. And then he does touch me with it. I still have the scar on my leg. Whatever. I still have the scar on my leg. And I go, oh my God, like, why would you do that? Like, you're joking around. Sometimes stuff happens, but it was what happened after, where he was like, oh, well, I rolled on your foot and you jumped. And I was like, that did not happen. Like, this was 2 seconds ago, and you're trying to tell me that? I know he felt bad. I'm sure he felt bad because it blistered up and it was frickin' disgusting.
Yeah.
And, like, and so I know he felt bad, but it was the gaslight. I'm like, I'm not going to let you tell me that that's what happened.
Yeah.
Because this literally happened 2 seconds ago, and you did not roll over my foot and I jumped into it. Like, that's what gaslighting is.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, changing reality to suit your purpose and make you think you're crazy. And I'm like, I know that didn't happen. But over time, you can see where this would really, beat you down. And then you start questioning
like,
yourself.
if you have to justify something, you are painting the flags pink.
Yeah.
because, you know, I mean, yeah, you just should never have to justify. Like, it's to me, it's black or white. I mean, there just should be no justification unless, like, something's an obvious accident, you know. And like, if I talk about, like, even when I first met him, he'd talk about all his ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
Like, all the breakups would be their fault. Like, they cheated, they were horrible.
Oh, my crazy ex.
Yeah, and
my crazy ex.
and you justify it like, oh well, you know,
I'm
like,
so sorry you had
I'm
to go
so
through
different.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
so different, so it won't happen to you. But then they end up talking the same shit about you. Trust me, it's happening right now. And I think, like, another, you know, red flag is when someone asks way too much personal information in the beginning of a relationship, like about your exes, about your past. It's like that person is telling you that your past is more important than your present. And I think when you paint the flag pink, you're saying, like, oh, I love how he spends so much attention.
He's interested.
He's interested in what I gotta say.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, bitch.
No.
It's a power control issue. He's justifying possible jealousy down the road.
Well, and no, what? So I think that if that's your take on it, in my relationship, they were finding out everything about you so they could throw it in your face later.
Oh,
And be like,
absolutely.
oh,
That too.
you did this. You know, it's like they kind of keep like a mental checklist
But, like,
So-
manipulate it.
Yeah. for opportune moments, or like take videos, like
Well, to
oh,
take
they-
away from what
yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah.
Essentially, right? I mean,
well, just, right. When you're in an argument, then they have this ammo. They have this, you know, ready, right on deck. Here we go. Okay, they're just waiting for you to say something. But that's, you know, that's my experience with that. I think it's more of a tactic of, you know,
like,
just
I thought we were broken up, so I, you know, this girl.
yeah.
So another factor that goes hand in hand with the fairy tale effect, I think, is trauma bonding.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, we see trauma bonding in Cinderella. I mean, she, you know, was ripped from her happy life with her father, and she's stuck with this like wicked stepmother, where she's forced to do all these chores, and, you know, for just that love, like to be accepted in the family, and
Yet she's never accepted.
and she's never accepted. And it's like, you know, well, what trauma bonding is, it's like the constant search for validation, like from the abuser. So I know in my relationship, I was like, I tried so hard. I was just like, you know, if I try hard enough, you're gonna love me. You're gonna love me. No, you know, and it's like, so it was constant. I was always trying to prove myself and how much I loved him. Like, why isn't this enough? Like, why don't you see it?
Exhausting.
It is exhausting, and you know what? You lose yourself because you're trying so hard to make them happy,
And then you're not yourself anymore.
and you know what? And they're never going to be happy.
Yeah.
They're never happy. It is an exhaustive tactic, and you can try and try and try, and it's never going to happen. I mean, I didn't get my fairy tale when this lady, 20 years my senior, shows up to my ex-boyfriend's house. She literally follows us home from the bar. He told me, oh, she's my friend, and she doesn't know where I live. and
Everyone's your friend.
she's never been to my house. And then I'm like, I see her car pull up. It's 2 a.m. Like, and, you know, I'm like, oh, she doesn't know where you live? Like, and yet she's here. And I'm like, call her. Call her. So he gets her on the phone, and she's like, we've been hanging out for a month, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, really? You know, and like, I'm like, we've been sleeping with each other every night, you know, and like, whatever. It's just, I'm sorry, this crown. I'm getting angry over this.
Because life is not a fairy tale.
No, I
Fuck
mean,
the crown.
This was some like Florida Jerry Springer crazy stuff.
Pasco
This,
shit.
you know, lady who's, I'm 35. She's like at least 20 years older than me. Shows up. I'm like, this is what you want? I'm like, this isn't the fairy tale. After the constant trying to prove yourself, and a lot of that trauma bonding, it comes down to your childhood experiences. Like, how do you view love? What were your relationship examples? Like, were your parents or step-parents or whoever, were they arguing all the time? Did you see this constant cycle? Is this love for you? You know, or yeah,
Sexual abuse. I mean, we both went through that at an early time in our life, and it's like you're taught to think you're worthless, and you end up choosing these abusive men.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, and I mean, yeah, I mean, that factors in, because then you're, you know, that trauma comes in, and it's like, these men don't really love me. I mean, I'm talking even before you get in relationships, like, you know, another thing with trauma bonding, I mean, it's more from your early childhood experiences, like what the relationship that you saw was loving, you know, and it could have been like, I mean, a lot of people now are in single parent households, and you know, the neglect and, I mean, you know, being absentee, and it doesn't mean like you were abused, you know, your parent had to work. So you were left, you know, raising yourself. And so you were constantly seeking attention and seeking validation, you know, and so you seek out these partners that, you know, you're constantly trying to prove yourself. You're kind of, I hate this crown, but I'm angry.
And I think that's maybe where, like, with everything that I went through, like, I had that loving family that I grew up in and that bond. So, like, I constantly kept thinking, like, I will find this. Like, this will happen for me.
It perpetuated the fairy tale. Like, I have this wonderful life, and why wouldn't it work out for me?
My parents are in love, and they still are to this day. Bless them. And it's like, I will. And you know what, you will, but you have to be realistic that there are the ups and downs. Nothing is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that goes into, okay, healing from the fairy tale effect. And, you know, how do you heal from this? How do you, you know, have that realization, like, okay, everything that I thought was a lie. All right, so, like, we were talking about the roles and how the Disney movies, how they affect us. So we talked about the women.
And I think it's only fair we talk about the men, too, because they are under so much pressure, you know, to be these providers, to be like the guy that saves you, you know, all
give the security in the relationship. And that's something I dealt with my last relationship. You know, he looked at, you know, us, both of us, I mean, you knew him, and we're like strong, independent girls. Like, we know if we're gonna be with you, like, we're choosing you. So there's no other influence.
And we want to work. That's the thing, is that we are such independent women. We worked our whole
effect. We want this to work so bad.
But we worked our whole lives. And I mean, even me coming down here and meeting someone in the US, like, I wanted to work. I couldn't work. Right. But I still had my savings. I still paid my bills at home, you know, and that's where I think it was like, I'm trying to show you that, like, I don't need you to provide, and yet.
Well, that's their insecurity. So, again, conditioned from early childhood, you know, it's not just the women that are like, oh, we're the princesses. It's the men. Like, oh my God, this is a lot of pressure.
And
like,
they're resentful for it, because they do meet those people. I mean, we do. We meet those people that take advantage.
Yeah, I think the resentment could come in, but I think in just our particular situation, you know, at least in mine with my last, I almost said his name. He's pretty obvious, but Dan Crown. No, but you know, it was a huge fight all the time. Like, you know, I can't give you this, and I can't take you out to dinner to these places. And like, if I wanted that, I could go get that. Like, honestly, if I wanted a freaking Lambo, I could have one in the driveway tomorrow. But that's not my motive. Like, I want love, you know. And so that was his own like conditioning and insecurities, and it wasn't. You know, they're under a lot of pressure too, and so that can harm the relationship from that side of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, really how you fix that is, you know, everybody needs to take a role in the relationship, and you know,
and it doesn't matter who takes the
role. We're not
role.
Talking gender roles.
No.
We're not saying like gender roles or anything like that. It's like, okay, say I am ahead and you're working on building your career and your business, and you're trying so hard, and I fucking love you for that. Like,
or maybe you brought me from another country, you know, to stay here, and it's like, I can't work.
Right. So in my case, you know, I was the sole provider, you know, and I was okay with that because I was happy with you, you know, and vice versa. But your ex didn't see that either, and it's like
it constantly came down to money. But again, that was projection.
Yeah,
that was projection.
They didn't feel secure enough. You know, because they didn't think that they were fitting the Prince Charming role. Oh,
I was like, babe, like, you knew. You and me were the same person. We're like, we didn't need to go out every night. You could stay home and put on a movie.
I'm sorry, this crown is like, really, whatever, you get the idea. I'm a frickin' princess, okay? Okay, get it? Okay.
If they don't get it by the dress, I don't know what we'll tell them. But, you know, like, yeah, I feel like we were the same. Like, with our exes, we were like, you know, we could stay home. You could go help with the garden. Like,
and they'd always tell us what we wanted to do. Like, oh, well, you want to go out. I'm like, who said that? If we wanted to do that, don't you think we'd be going out and doing that? Like, I'm happy being
I lived that life forever.
I know. Anyways,
I don't need the fireworks.
The point of the story is...
We are the fireworks.
Well, that is the point of the story. No, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is is, you know, we get these preconceived notions on how we're supposed to act.
Yeah.
Not only us women, but you men, you're under a lot of pressure too, you know, and that's where these, you know, disconnects come in.
Mm-hmm.
So having your own role in the relationship. So it's just for fun. Say I'm making all the money, then you know what? Maybe the husband, boyfriend, whatever wants to stay home with the kids. You gotta do what makes it work for your family and not resent each other.
Partnership.
It's a conversation,
partnership.
is what it is. You need to have a conversation.
Well, communication is huge,
That's
but it's
it.
also a partnership. Like
And
everyone needs their roles to make it work and to
Because-
make everyone's needs fulfilled. And
Shit, I'd rather go out and freaking work. I mean, it's hard staying home with those kids. So if you're a dad staying home with those kids, God bless you, because you don't have that nurturing innate ability. I mean, you know what I'm saying. It's ingrained in us women because we bear the child. But I mean, like, hats off. You know, that's a great job.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. So don't let this Disney princess bullshit fool you. Okay? Be a stay-at-home dad, okay?
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind being a stay-at-home mother either, so anybody who's watching. Not saying that we're not contradicting what we just said. I'm just saying.
You know, we were talking about being caddies earlier. We'll be your caddy if you'll be our daddy. Just kidding.
Well, our kids are just gonna have two mummies. We have already given up. I think we should talk about healing now.
Yes. How do we heal from this? How do we heal from what we were conditioned to as a young child, this fairy tale effect? Like, I think it really comes down to just recognizing, yes, reality versus, and you have to go through these hard things and these breakups and this, you know, pain to really realize, like,
Understand the
this
foundation
is
of what a
life.
relationship is.
like nothing is handed to you. We've learned that.
Yeah.
Nothing is handed to you. Everything that is handed to you comes with an expectation. We've learned those things.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I really think just
you know,
going,
and
you've got to go through it. It's not just us telling you. You got to go through it.
Right. Well, I was just kind of saying, like, conflict in the relationship is normal. So these fairy tale things, so healing from this fairy tale effect, just know if you're arguing and stuff, conflict is actually, arguments are actually
A form of communication.
it's progressive.
It
I mean,
is,
you're
yeah.
getting your voice out there. This isn't the Little Mermaid.
like
you know,
Pac-Man.
or no, the Canadian South Park.
Oh yeah, that's me.
That's
Flappy head.
So I mean, but healing, you know, from this, it just be aware that this isn't reality. I keep bringing up our age, and it's like it took 35 years to like learn this and the fairy tale effect. And I mean, you'd think it's a no-brainer, but you have to really dissect it. And there was something that I read because I was kind of beating myself up, like you were saying, you're 35, you know, you haven't been married. You know, you don't have kids yet. Like, you think you're going to be at such a different level, and it's not always like that.
Yeah.
And I don't remember where I saw this. I think it was Psychology Today. I always try to cite everything, but this woman said, beating myself up for this cycle never helped me break it. Knowing better never stopped me from repeating it. It was when I practiced radical self-acceptance and self-love that I started to become free. So it's like it goes back to like, you know what you need to do, but how do you do it? You know, and that's where I get caught up a lot in this whole fairy tale thing. Like, you know what's right, you know what's, you know.
But it's that hope.
It's that, and it's from the Disney movies, like, it's gonna work out. Love is gonna prevail. I mean, you do need more than love, and it sucks because I really believe, a firm believer, if you love someone enough,
And
you know,
let's
like,
also
you
be
will
honest, like,
it'll be happily ever after.
I'm sure there's lots of you watching that haven't had these crazy breakups.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but let's be honest and say that not every relationship leaves more than your heart bruised. Shout out to domestic violence.
Yeah, well,
Shout out to my ex.
We'll get in,
But, you know,
God, drink on that
they
one.
all...
We'll get into that. But it doesn't, what you're trying to say is it doesn't have to be this big,
It's not all fireworks.
tumultuous.
It's not all crazy. I mean, some people just grow apart.
Yeah.
Some people just grow apart and they change, you know?
And that's hurtful enough because it's like you love them so much, but you have to let go.
Mhm.
And that sometimes that hurts if not more than such a tumultuous relationship where you know you love each other so much and it's just not going in the same direction. And,
Yeah.
And you know, in the Disney movies where, you know, the different roles, the woman's the princess, the man's coming to save you, and it's like I think that's where a lot of the, I know we talked about trauma bonding, but that's where a lot of the trauma bonding kind of comes from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're there, you're getting these little bit of, you know, incentives. So you're in this abusive cycle, and it's like a slot machine in Vegas. Like you're putting money in, hoping, oh please
For that
love me.
gratification.
Please love me. Yeah. Or did I prove that I love that how much I love you yet? And then it's like you're getting beat down, you're beat down, you're beat down, but then boom, jackpot hits. You win, and so then you're pulled right back into the cycle. You're pulled right back into the cycle. The breadcrumbs. You're playing for freaking breadcrumbs, and that's what trauma bonding
they wronged you, and then there's gifts.
Yeah.
Then there's gifts, like you can buy my love, like you thought you could buy it.
Yeah.
Did you not earn it off the authentic way of just meeting me? Like you thought you could buy it.
They know they messed up, so yeah, it's love bombing.
Yep.
Yeah, love bombing, trauma bonding. It's all connected.
Difference.
Well, it's all connected. It's all connected.
Yeah.
You know, because the narcissist or, you know, just the other party, you know, they'll want to do anything to keep that validation. You know, like, oh, they don't like me right now. Oh, here's a present. So they get their little tap of dopamine. You know, it's like it's like what I'm saying with trauma bonding. It's like you try to prove yourself, and then, you know, every once in a while you're going to be, you know, recognized, you're going to be validated, you're going to be appreciated for the love that they're giving you, but it's going to be so short-lived.
But don't worry, we paid for that somehow. Somehow.
That's how, well, we're trying to work through it. So if you're feeling anything like that, notice the signs. I mean, we're noticing it after the fact. We're trying to catch you guys, you know, younger and different points in your relationship, because if you can just listen to us, you know, just take what resonates with you, and if
just
you
listen to yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, your gut is your
similarities,
strongest.
Yeah, if you see similarities, we're here to just vouch for. We were the ones who ignored the red flags. We're the ones who painted the red flags pink. Like, this is where we're at.
And you know what? The best thing you can take out of it is just learn it. Once you see it, you'll never unsee it. So,
unfortunately, it takes some.
Well, it takes
some. What did I say? It takes being devastated.
Well, I mean, we've said this a million times. It takes having that breakdown to have a breakthrough. Like, you got to lose everything. You got to be at that end of that rope where you're like, where do I go? Like, I can go here. I can cut the strings here. Like, you know. And that's really what it comes down to. I mean, it's all on your own time. There's no perfect time. So people can tell you whatever they want to tell you. You're going to heal when it's right for you.
I'm sorry, I'm out of line. She's totally right. Let's end it there. You guys have been great.
So just remember, this is your life.
I mean, write your story, live your dream, and
just don't give a sip.
I could cheers you, but I'm out.
Oh, shit. Let me give you some. Oh, some of this.
What a good friend.
Always. Such a good wife.